It is Sunday school. Wow, a whole week has flown by. Saturday morning cartoons, Sunday school, and tomorrow is Memorial Day, Monday. Uh, Probably should be Memorial Day Sunday, but because uh, at least here in the United States, workers don't get very many days off or holidays or bank holidays, as they would say in other countries. So they give us one extra a day. Uh, but that's just old me complaining. I'm 76 years old and compared to most people, haven't done an honest day's work in my life. That's kind of an exaggeration, but compared to others, no. Anyway, it's Memorial Day. And exactly 1 year ago, I shared with you uh, my thoughts on remembering the personal rights that we all have as just living, breathing human beings. Uh, and it was sort of centered around the Crowley's document of the rights of man, okay, Liber Oz. And it was sort of an enactment or a read through of an address I gave at Liber Oz Fest a number of years ago, uh, where I looked at the rights of the individual from a thelemic point of view, and to talk about Crowley's document, the rights of man. Okay, Liber Oz, and it's a very short thing, and there's one right that's at the very end of his document that disturbs many people, and at least it gives everybody pause to think, and often they say, well, I should take that out. Nobody has the right to do that. But anyway, Liber Oz is not a Class A document, okay? And it's not any kind of class document. Okay, Crowley has his writings are classified in various ways. It is an unclassed document, so it's open to our interpretation and open to us to speculate on it. And each sentence says, man has the right to do this, man has the right to do that. Well, when it was written in the early part of the 20th century, people were thinking in terms of mankind in general, and but there was this this suggestion that it's the men who have these rights, and but it's not a Class A document. It does mean every human being. So I rewrote a version that says woman has the right to do this and woman has the right to do, and that felt good to do that. Okay, but it's a thelemic document coming from Crowley. It's the rights of the individual as seen from what Crowley's thinking is likely to be a thelemic attitude. So why not just do it this way? There is no God but me. I have the right to live by my own law, to live in the way that I will to do, to work as I will, to play as I will, to rest as I will, to die when and how I will. I have the right to eat what I will, to drink what I will, to dwell where I will, to move as I will on the face of the earth. I have the right to think what I will, to speak what I will, to write what I will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as I will, to dress as I will. I have the right to love as I will. I have the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. Now, it's that last one that gets everybody thinking, do I really have the right to do that? And it doesn't say just because you ultimately have the right when cosmic push comes to shove to do that. And I guess the danger in that sentence is when do we really know? How can we really know when it's a matter of cosmic push and shove that stand your ground clause should be exercised? Anyway, so about 1 year ago today, I did something similar to this, but I'm just going to do a little part of that. The United Nations representatives from around the world in 1948, December 1948, representatives from all around the world, the United Nations, including us, or the U.S., formally adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, this was a document that was painstakingly crafted with the help and the inspiration of lots of people, including the great Eleanor Roosevelt, who did everything she could to get this created, even started it while Franklin was still alive. It's a document I believe everyone, especially each of us here, should own and study. It's just a little tiny booklet, pamphlet. You could download it on from the internet. Just a few pages. If you don't have one, I think we've got enough copies here for everyone. I brought copies for everyone. It's an inspiring little document worthy, in my opinion, of universal acceptance. It is remarkably thorough, declaring in 30 brief articles a broad spectrum of the economic, social, cultural, political, and civil rights of all people on our planet. And they're so general, and they're so common sense that they could be exercised under a broad spectrum of political and economic systems. I just threw that in. But it's important for those of us who claim to be Thelemites to remember that ultimately it is impossible for the United Nations or any community or any state or national government or any church or order to grant anybody these rights. No charter, no constitution, no warrant, no document or scripture of any kind has the power or authority to award or grant anyone these rights. No, we all, the enlightened and the unenlightened, the innocent and the guilty, we already possess them. But they remain unactualized until the liberating instant we recognize and accept the fact that they are ours by virtue of being freaking born. I threw in the freaking. By virtue of just being alive, by virtue of existing in this dimension as human beings. These rights cannot be purchased or won or rationed, doled out, allocated, or allotted to us by any tribe or cult's imaginary god or world teacher, or by any mythical special privileges we've inherited because of the circumstances of our birth or our wealth or our race or our genes or our family or tribe or nation. These rights are not privileges extended to us by some national or international or interplanetary government or club or order. Thelemite to Thelemite, I'll be perfectly frank. If you still believe, even in the back of your mind, that any organization or entity outside yourself has the power to grant or deny you any of these rights, then perhaps you're not yet prepared to claim or exercise them. I'll go even further. If you believe there is any entity outside yourself capable of granting or withholding any of these rights from you, then perhaps you're not prepared to claim and exercise them. Until you've awakened to your birthright, your sleeping consciousness will continue to divide dream self against dream self. You'll remain self-hoodwinked, self-bound, self-medicated. You'll continue to bamboozle yourself and only fantasize that you've transcended the flat earth, dying sun, divine right of kings, slave consciousness of the Osirian Aeon. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a noble and idealistic attempt at enshrining what universal rights might look like if ever they were to be put in practice by a motivated people and institutions guided by a modicum of human decency and by the desire to expedite the evolutionary unfoldment of human potential. And that's what Eleanor Roosevelt and the UN group were shooting for with those universal rights, human rights. But thou hast no right but to do thy will. And Liber Oz is a far more visceral declaration. It declares why we fundamentally possess these rights. I personally believe that as far as Liber Oz is concerned, we're free to identify ourselves as anything we sincerely believe we are. Any philosophy, any political persuasion, any gender, and yes, any religion. We are free to believe that something is truly our will, even if it violates civil or criminal laws. Even if it is, to the rest of the world, it appears embarrassingly stupid, misguided, or dangerous. It's impossible for you or me or anyone else to ultimately judge on a karmic level what is or is not another person's will. You are free to believe that something is truly your will, even if all your friends and loved ones think you're out of your fucking mind and you're making the biggest mistake of your life. Who are we to judge on a huge karmic, cosmic level? Who knows? Perhaps your stupid, self-destructive behavior might be part of your will to die when and how you will. I can only speak for myself, and I might be completely naive and a deluded old man, but it's clear to me that I have a number of unique and particularly important things I must do with my life in the short time I'm present in this dimension. Things I must do for the benefit of my own awakening. Things I must do for the benefit of the consciousness units around me. It's my job. It's the price I pay for admission to my existence. Call it destiny, call it my great work, call it ego, call it madness. I don't give a fuck what anyone calls it. There is no God but me. And it is my private, personal, selfish, self-centered, narcissistic best interest to live and pursue this great work in a relatively safe, healthy, stable environment, undisturbed as much as possible by the distraction of violent social unrest. And a big part of my pursuit of happiness includes not being tormented by the preventable pain and unhappiness of other consciousness units around me. Maybe it's a character flaw, but I can no longer segregate their consciousness from my own. And it unsettles me. It irritates me. It makes me unhappy, especially when I know there are things I can do that might address and correct the situation. It's the least I can do. Indeed, I'm counseled by my own holy guardian angel that it is one of the unique and particularly important things I must do in the time I have in this incarnation. But that's just my life, my great work, my will. You are your own unique consciousness unit. In Thelema, one's individual social sensitivities and politics are entirely a personal matter. They have to be. For Constance and me, it feels perfectly natural to support laws, measures, candidates, and parties that promote policies that support equality and civil rights and civil liberties and such. But our progressive attitudes aren't dictated by Liber Oz or the Book of the Law or our interpretations of the tenets of Thelema. They're our personal attitudes. They're unique to us. They spring in part from our youthful idealism and the romantic vision formed at the beginning of our long and adventurous life together. Attitudes formed naturally by our observations and interpretations of what appears to us to be objective reality, and values that continue to be nourished by maturing wisdom and our evolving sense of human decency. We neither know nor care if you find our attitudes admirable or childishly naive. But please, no matter how much you may agree or disagree with our positions on social or political issues, don't be quick to credit or blame either our wisdom or our folly on our acceptance or current understanding of Thelema. And for heaven's sake, don't blame the OTO for our attitudes. The same should be remembered of our siblings with whom we share in common so many wonderful things concerning the art of magic and the love of the great work, but whose present moral or political views we may find abhorrent. Always be mindful that each of us have fears and attitudes and prejudices and pathologies that have been molded by factors infinite and unknown. Things that one person can never truly understand of another. Traumas stemming from parental mistreatment or abandonment or violence or past struggles with drugs or alcohol. We each try to deal with our own demons in any way we can. And sadly, there are those of us that seek to exorcise them by clothing themselves in the armor of elitism and escaping into a fantasy brotherhood of intolerance, championing the mythical causes of some romanticized warrior cult of the past. All of us are batshit crazy. Don't be afraid to disagree with your siblings as vehemently as you will. Call them out and bust them honestly on Facebook if you feel you must, but never be tricked into blaming the transcendent truths of Thelema for something as stupid and temporary as conflicting attitudes on politics. And if someone else tries to, don't be trolled into the conversation at that level. I admire Crowley. He's my holy prophet. But I'm not obliged to comb my hair, or select my wardrobe, or my diet, or my lovers, or vote the way he did. Thelema is bigger than Aleister Crowley. And nobody can tell anybody how to interpret the book of the law. There is no God but me. I have the right to live by my own law. I have the right to live in the way that I will to do, to work as I will, to play as I will, to rest as I will, to die when and how I will. I have the right to eat what I will, to drink what I will, to dwell where I will and move as I will on the face of the earth. To move as I will on the face of the earth. The first answer to the question a Mason is first asked, why did you become a Mason? That I might travel in foreign places. To dwell where I will, to move as I will on the face of the earth. I have the right to think what I will, to speak what I will, to write what I will, to draw, paint, carve, etch, mold, build as I will, to dress as I will. I have the right to love as I will. I have the right to kill those who would thwart these rights. But I might add, for that last one, you might think it's your will to shoot the person wearing a 10-gallon hat sitting in front of you at the theater because you can't see the movie because of their big hat, because you think it's your will to see the movie. You better consider if it really is so much your will to see the movie that you're willing to spend the rest of your life in jail. the rest of your short life in jail. Anyway, that's it. Okay, I've done it before. You've heard most of this a number of times, including the whole thing a year ago. But I think it's very important. And on a day that is supposedly set aside for remembrance, and usually we take that as meaning, well, we remember all the dead people in our lives, and now it's been twisted and sort of distorted to remembering all the military victims who died for whatever reasons they thought they were dying for. But hello, dear. Speaking of victims, want to say good.
I'm trying not to be a victim.
Okay, good for you.
I've invented this mess, and I'm going to clean it up. Yes?
Oh, want to say happy Sunday school?
Happy Sunday school. I don't know what it's about. I'm just kind of thought he was finished, and I was going on a bicycle ride, and I wanted to tell him because Lon would be terrified if he said, I'm finished, and it came out and I wasn't there, so I didn't want to scare him.
I'd freak.
So,
okay.
I'll listen to you now.
All right. Well, this is what. Until tomorrow.
Oh, God, I took his brain away.
She sucked my brain.
And I always thought it was the other way around.
Until tomorrow for Monday, the order of Monday morning. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is the law. Love under will.
We'll see you tomorrow. And remember,